discuss today. I'm going to go ahead and just get the intro rolling and go over a couple of housekeeping things while people kind of join in. As a reminder, if you have to leave or anything or something pops up, this is being recorded. There'll be a replay sent to you after, so you will be able to, go through it. Also, if there's a ton of information, I'll have the recording. So if you want to go back and take notes or apply anything, you'll have all of that. But welcome to creating your polished and profitable proposal process. I am so excited that I did not murder that, because I was like, I love the alliteration on the computer, but then when I say it, I'm like, this is going to be bad. But that was pretty good. So I am really excited you guys are here. I've never done a masterclass on proposals. I have done so many trainings on client experience where proposals were definitely a part of the conversation, but never one over the entire process, from what to include, what your design should look like, how to follow up, communication, all of that. And so I'm sharing all of that today. So it's gonna be really cool. And I'm actually kind of nervous, which is not unlike me, but usually I'm not this nervous. So bear with me if I'm a little fast. I'm gonna try to slow down here. But if you don't know me, or if you're not too familiar with me yet, hello, I am Taylor. Most of you probably know me as a Dubsado certified specialist and pro when it comes to all things workflow. I also am an expert in client experience, and I started Chanonly a few years ago after scaling my VA business. I also have a podcast, and I do lots of education like this with trainings and classes and programs to also teach people to become Dubsado pros. So I'm really excited you're here. If you're not too familiar with me yet, make sure that you connect with me on my website and Instagram. But if you're here, you're probably already all on there, so we can just move past that. Now, before we get started, like I said, there is so much we're going to cover. So I really want you guys to get distraction free, try to put away the phone and the extra windows. I know we all have 18 million screens happening around us, but there is a lot to discuss here. And I want to make sure you guys also are thinking through this. So at the end, if you have questions, we'll have plenty of time for that. And all is on the table. So not just proposals, but also Dubsado, design, workflows, etc. This will be a great time to just ask away. Now, with the IG situation, you guys know that I announced I'm doing a giveaway. I have a new service that I'm announcing. I'm soft launching it here. All of the big details drop Monday, but it's on the site right now, so you guys can take a look if you haven't already. But if you want to enter the giveaway for the Dubsado design experience, it's pretty simple. Every time I do giveaways with my trainings, all you have to do is post on your Instagram on your story that you are at the class. It doesn't have to be me, it doesn't have to be you, it could be your desk, it could be the screen, it could be a selfie, whatever you want. It could be your dog if you have a pal chilling with you. Post on Instagram, make sure you tag me so I can see it, and I will choose a winner after the class is over. So as a way to say thank you for coming here live and taking your time and your day with me, I'm giving this away. If you want to know more about the design experience before you take a look and enter the giveaway, make sure you guys are muted. Let me mute everybody. Let's see. Is everyone muted? Okay. I think I can, but I don't know how to surf through all these things. Everyone make sure we're muted. Let's see. Okay, I think we're good. All right. Continuing on, if you want to know more about the Dubsado design experience and get all the details, I will drop in the link to the sales page. It'll have what all is included, what you're going to get with the experience and all of that. I'm not going to take up all your time selling you on this because I want to get to the goods, but you guys can see all that and enter the giveaway anytime between now and when the class ends. So let's take a look at what we are covering today, because I'm really, really excited to dive into all things proposals. As you guys know, I am literally obsessed with proposals. I use them in my own business and credit so much of my success to having a really solid sales process, especially when it gets to the proposal point in the sales process. So today we are covering proposal framework. So why are proposals so important? How is it involved with our sales psychology and our selling process, the signature framework for your design and what to include in your proposal and all the tips there. We're then going to talk about delivery. So how and when to deliver it, the communication guidelines, all of that fun jazz. And then also completion. So how to perfect your follow-up, when should you follow up, and then what to do next, right? And these are a lot of questions I encounter with my clients when I work with them one-on-one. Is we understand that we need a proposal, but we're not really too sure or confident with how to use it and use it well in our process. So Proposals, why are they so important? They are the one tool that seals the deal for your client sales. And I'm going to talk about what I mean in a second. If you're just joining in, hello, make sure that you drop in the chat who you are, where you're from, what you do. And as a reminder, guys, any questions you have throughout this, you can drop them in the chat. If I can't get to it while I'm discussing it here, I can always get to it at the end, okay? Now, if you're here, you are one of these three people. You aren't currently using proposals in your selling process, but you want to explore it, or you know that you are ready to implement a proposal somehow, some way. If that is you, drop a little steak emoji, okay? You're a steak today, baby. All right, next person is you're using proposals in your selling process, but you know it needs a rehaul. The design needs a rehaul, maybe the process around it, the language. Something with the proposal needs an update, but you're using them, which is good. You're a pancake. I love pancakes, a little flapjack. Drop a flapjack if that's you. Or for those, kind of teachers' pets, you're using the proposals, you're confident, you've got your workflow somewhat going, you got a little automation, but you're here because you love to learn and you want to make sure you're not forgetting anything. You're a cheese. We're a charcuterie today. I want you to drop a cheese. Also, these have no correlation. I told my boyfriend, I was like, I think I need to find emojis that correlate, but there weren't any. So we went with food. All right. I'm seeing lots of pancakes. Good. Lots of cheese. Who's my cheese? Eva. Good. Cheese. Lots of pancakes. So a lot of people here today are using them, but we know we need to upgrade, which is good. Regardless of what cute emoji you are, you guys are all ready for a killer proposal process, and you want it to not only stand out with design, because we care about design, and a lot of you are creative business owners, I know a lot of you, but we also want to make sure when we hit send each and every time it works, and it works really well, and that it's a smooth process for the client and for us. So before I break down the framework and all of the details that you're going to walk away with, I want to talk a little bit. Let me make sure, see who's not, there we go, mute. I got that one that time. Why are proposals so important? I work with a lot of business owners that are just like, I'm not sure why I need the proposal. Maybe if you're a pancake today, you're like, yeah, I use it, but like, it's kind of just there. Like, I know I need to use it, but it's not great. But I have a lot of people ask, what's the point of it, right? If I can just send a link to a contract and an invoice.
Yep.
There we go. If I can just send a link to a contract and invoice, why do I need a proposal? Here's why. By the time your potential lead reaches this booking phase where it's time to sign or it's time to pay, they have probably done many of these bullet items here. They've interacted with you on social media. They've surfed your website, opted into your freebies. Maybe they purchased like a low ticket offer or a template or a product. They may have already submitted a form, an application, or booked a consult, had a meeting. All of these scenarios, you are exercising sales psychology, right? You're using your marketing material. There's all these funnels you put them through to get to the point where they are potentially purchasing from you. And the proposal is your last chance. It's your final chance to use those sales techniques and to sell them, but also to create an easy point of purchase. Because yes, at this point, there may still be people who are deciding if they want to purchase from you or work with you, and so this proposal can do a little bit more selling for us. But for the clients who are ready to go, the proposal also acts as the place where they can just sign, pay, boom, done in a few clicks, versus there's 3 links here, we got to go to this page, and then we go to this app, and then there's a hello doc, right? It makes things a little crazy. That's why having a system like Dubsado do this is really going to just make this process seamless. And that proposal holds a lot of weight with the sales and also with the purchasing. Now, when it comes to sales, how can we actually use sales psychology in our proposal, right? I have a lot of people ask, what do I include? What's the point of including certain things over the other? And while I'm not a sales expert, I have built a lot of proposals and I have sent a lot of proposals in my own business, in my clients' businesses. I've helped a lot of people make money and I've made money myself. And so there's a few things I've learned, but because I'm a girl of my research, I did research a couple of things that have to do with sales and why we infuse it into the proposal. Now, if you're like, I need more sales, DM me. I have great experts I can refer you to or books you can read if you want to go down the sales rabbit hole. But the 4 points that I see infused into this proposal process that we're going to look at today are: 1, reciprocity. I think I said that right. I probably should have YouTubed that before. Social proof / authority, urgency and scarcity, and emotions and liking. Now, these are things you're probably already using in your processes. You're probably already using a lot of these sales techniques during sales calls, during emails, in your marketing. And these are things you're seeing also in everyday life. So as we go through this call today, or this class, you're going to see how these are weaved into the proposal and why it's so important. But so we understand what these are, I'm going to give you these examples quickly, and then we're going to move on to our framework. So reciprocity is the value that we're giving someone, they want to give it back to us. Perfect example of this in the real world is tipping, right? When we have a great experience, when someone gives us great value and a great dining experience or any kind of other service, we want to give back and reciprocate that with a tip, right? That's a real life example for that one. Social proof and authority, we're probably all very familiar with this in our online space because we all use it on our site, on our Instagram, probably in your proposals or on your sales pages. But in real life, think about all of your friends when they tell you, oh my gosh, you got to go buy this Amazon set, it's gorgeous. Or you get on Yelp to find a restaurant. That's our social proof. We also have urgency and scarcity, right? When we're making it urgent that something's not going to last or something is going to end or there's only so many spots available. Very common with products or food, right? While quantities last, limited spots, all that urgency around why they need to act now and make a decision. And then also very commonly used, I feel like in the online space, is emotions and liking. Perfect example is like influencer marketing. We have storytelling. We are connecting with the sale with emotions. We're giving that person a reason to like us and trust us. So all of these pieces are going to be infused, and you guys are going to realize, oh, that's why we include this one piece into our proposal, because it is a sales tool. Okay. Let's make sure mute. I'm getting better at muting over here on my other screen. I'm good. Usually I have my assistant sitting here and help me. I should have got her today, but she actually might be in this class. I think that might have been Ellie. But anyways, what do these sales techniques look like when it comes to our proposal process? Not just the proposal itself and the gorgeous design, but the whole shebang. So we're going to break this down into 3 parts. We're going to break it down into our framework. This is the actual design and the format of your proposal. We're going to look at our delivery and follow-up, and we're going to look at communication guidelines, how to communicate when, all that good stuff. Proposal framework. What happened to my picture? Oh no, it wasn't important anyways. It was probably just a picture of my face, which you guys already see here. So we're good. So proposal framework, a couple of key tips before I break down the 8 key components for your design. And this goes for anyone. I know we had a lot of pancakes with proposals, but I didn't ask how many of you are using Dubsado. How about you guys drop in the chat who all here is currently using Dubsado proposals? I would love to know. Regardless if you are or you aren't, your proposals, these tips can apply to any proposal. Yes, we love Dubsado here. We all know this. You know I'm a Dubsado walking ad that's going to get it tattooed somewhere eventually. But if you're using Honeybook, if you're using another CRM, if you don't have Dubsado yet, but you're thinking about it, these key tips translate for your framework and your strategy regardless. First of all, we want it to be readable and easy to navigate. How often do you go onto a website page or you get a document and the colors are off, you can't see it, the fonts are all crazy, they're using Comic Sans, the image is bad, you're just like, I'm not, throw it away, we're not even going to read it. Proposal should be easy to read. It is something that is a purchase point and they are making a big decision here. So it needs to be easy to navigate, easy to access, easy to use, easy keyword, okay? We also want to make sure the point of purchase is clear. We don't want this tiny button at the bottom that says, are you ready to pay $1,000? No, what is the investment? What is the payment plan? I want to pick this, right? We want it to be easy to understand what they are opting into, what they are selecting, what they are signing and doing all of that. Yes, the contract and the invoice will show, but the proposal is the way to show it and make it clear when they're making that decision. And then, of course, we want it to be personalized. We want it to be on brand. We want it to be professional. And we also really want to make sure, this one is pretty key because I see this often kind of messed up is we want to make sure that we're reiterating key details, right? We want to spare the fluff and all of the good copy and the story of your, your childhood like lemonade stand that turned you into entrepreneur. Save that for the website, save that for the phone call. We want this to be about the service so the client can make the decision and we can get on with the booking process and onboarding, right? So let's look at our framework now when it comes to design. We kind of have these key tips here. I want to walk you through the 8 key components. I want to see in your proposals from here on out, I want you to vow to me, you're going to include these in every proposal. This is what's going to help you convert. This is going to help it make it be super polished. And this is going to infuse some of those sales tactics we saw. Okay. First of all, cover and intro, kind of like a website. Dubsado is giving us that ability now to make it gorgeous. Now, we want to spare the fluff for the website, but we still want this to be captivating. We want them to open the document and go, oh my God, this is gorgeous. Stop it, right? And they want to scroll, they want to keep going. So have a nice cover intro, kind of think of it like a website fold when you first come on with gorgeous imagery, your brand, really captivating, title or heading, all of that good stuff. And then we're going to go straight into the secret sauce. If you're not familiar with the secret sauce, I'm about to rock your world. A lot of you are, because I know a lot of my friends and my students and my clients are here. So you've probably seen mine, but also you've probably heard me talk about this, and that is the video message. This is a game changer when it comes to your proposals. I use this in my own business, and I recommend all of my clients to do this. And a lot of them do integrate this after they see how I do mine. Essentially, I want you to record a 1 to 2 minute video for every single client, or every potential lead, I should say. Yes, Lily, there will be a replay if you need to leave. There is going to be a replay. If you have a potential client, I want you to record a 1 to 2 minute video for every single one of them. And in that video, I want you to just do a couple of key things. Be super excited, show your face, say your name, say their name. Hi, Taylor, I'm so excited to potentially work with you. Repeat their pain points. I know that you are so stressed out about your back-end processes and you're really looking for workflows, et cetera, et cetera. You get the idea. Use this chance to personalize it and really just reiterate how you're going to solve their problems. Give that personality here. There's a really easy way to do this. I will show you in just a second, but this is game changing. Then we're going to move on to the client section. This could be an area where you kind of just restate what the service is, before and after, really paint the picture of the solution and the problem, which then moves on to our process. And this is where you're just going to kind of list out 1, 2, 3, ABC, how the service is going to work, how they're going to get from step 1 all the way to the end. Really want to summarize this. You don't want to get hefty with every single scope and timeline and outline here. We can save some of that for the package details and the contract and the onboarding. This should be more of, here's onboarding, here's how the middle of the service goes, and here's how the end goes, and we close out. Keep it really clean. Then we're going to move on to the investment. No confusion here, really keeping the design clean. Again, easy to read, big. Don't make your pricing font size 8. We want everything to be readable, and get straight to the packages and pricing. What are the options? Are there different collections? Is it one? Is there a la carte? Are there different payment plans? Lay it all out with our options to select if we're using Dubsado. FAQs, if we have any. It's always good to add a couple in here just so that way we can, get some objections figured out before they have to respond with questions. Lastly, our social proof, testimonial, and next steps. This one, I always say, do not forget this, you guys. I always tell my clients when I'm building out proposals, we want to pretend as if the client has never used a proposal ever in their life, because they might have never used our process or this particular system or this platform. So we want it to be super easy to understand. How do I pay? What do I do next? Where do we go from here? And listing that out, 1, 2, 3, pick your package, sign your contract, pay your invoice, and then we get on to onboarding. Make that very clear here. Now I'm going to show you this in action really quickly. Well, I'm going to open this up. If you guys have questions, don't forget you can ask it in the chat box. This is an example of what I'm talking about, and this is a new template I have for sale in my shop. But you guys, this demo, you can literally see this on my website, and you could I'm not saying copy this because obviously I'm not promoting you to copy me, but this is great inspiration of what I want you guys to have in your proposal process. Okay. Also, you can purchase it if you'd like. There will be a discount. Okay. So here we go. Look, we have our beautiful designed headers, and this is all Dubsado. So if we're not familiar for Dubsado or with the proposals, this is all created in Dubsado. No code, no Canva imagery, just all of Dubsado's form builder. We have our info. Maybe this is a wedding proposal, but your proposal title, client details, some really great captivating copy about the service. Moving into our video message. This is exactly how I do it in my business, guys. I use Loom for this. If you're not familiar with Loom, it's free. They even have a browser extension. You can record your video just like this. It gives you a code. You just smack it in Dubsado. It's A1. Our process here, again, kind of a 1, 2, 3. Here's what the service looks like. Testimonial, collections, and these are different designs, right? Depending on, maybe you have different options. Maybe you have just one custom quote, or it's one service like this. But you see how we're laying it out, very clear to understand. Here's what you get, here's the cost. Now, I say all of this, guys, and really for everything in this entire class, this is not cookie cutter. This is not a one size fits all for every business. And that is why I'm in business as a Dubsado Pro, because people hire me for their needs. So if this isn't the right fit for you, you can modify this. I'm not saying every piece has to be in this exact order or format or size and all of that, but you understand the idea of how we're infusing these different sections into our proposal that have a purpose in the proposal. So I want you to keep that in mind. These things can be modified, but this is the general format I've seen that has worked for so many industries that I have set up workflows for and proposals for, as well as my own business. So sharing all of what's worked for past business owners. As I mentioned, this form template is live. I also have a new bundle, and I think, Carissa, yes, you're the one who purchased it, I think, which is amazing. Thank you, thank you. But these are available in the shop. I will have a link sent out after the call with a coupon code for you guys. And a reminder, if you haven't entered the giveaway, all you have to do is share that you are attending the class today, post anything you want, and make sure you tag me. I'll pick someone out of a hat after the class. Yeah, I don't know why none of my pictures showed up, which is crazy. But proposal delivery. So we've seen the framework. We understand how we want it to be designed. We understand what we need. We also understand that we want it to be easy to complete. So in that Dubsado one, and maybe I should go back real quick, if you're not super familiar with Dubsado, then you will see that there is the contract and invoice attached. So easy to complete, right? They're seeing one link, they're selecting their package, they're signing and paying. Now, again, your proposal process could be a little different. Maybe they don't sign and pay yet. Maybe you have a call with them to review the proposal. Maybe everything is super custom and needs to be modified. We can still break it up into chunks as long as we're being intentional with those different chunks within the booking process, okay? Madeline, basically formatted as a one-page website. Yes, as Carissa just mentioned, it's with this link here. So you design it within Dubsado, but then you send the link to your client, and you can do that through Dubsado or many other ways. And they see this link and it's all in one URL. You can also white label this link. That's another conversation for another day, but it's very functional and easy to use on the client's end. All right, so back to our proposal delivery. There's my photos. The how and the when. We have this gorgeous proposal. We've secured the lead. They've chatted with us. They're ready for the proposal. And we're just like, oh my gosh, I want to get it over to them. But what's next? How do we send it? When do we send it? Do we do it in email? What are all of the details? I'm going to break that down now. I've stressed proposal design and framework, but just as important as the contents of the proposal itself is how we deliver it. The email is just as important, the buttons, all of that matters. As you guys have probably followed my education, the client experience goes hand in hand with the user experience, how they're flowing through things, how your emails, the clickability of it, the usability of it, all of that matters when it comes to this, not just the design and the email functions. We really want to consider all of that here. Let's look at time first. When should we deliver a proposal? I'm going to be Debbie Downer here because we don't want to hear it, but as soon as possible, ASAP after the call, as soon as you can. Why? Why should we not wait a couple hours, tomorrow, etc.? A few reasons that I feel are pretty obvious, but I want to remind you, one, capitalize on excitement. They're excited to work with you. Most of the time, people don't just get on a call with you if you do consults, if they're not somewhat interested in working with you, because they're taking the time to speak with you. They're interested. Capitalize on that excitement. As soon as you can send something over to them, send it to them. Also, if that person is in a pretty deep decision-making mode, that shortens the time frame that they can respond with questions and you can go back and forth. The longer you wait, the longer you are just extending this decision-making period for them, right? Which also means cue in the competition, right? Chances are they may be shopping, they may be comparing, they may be talking to different experts. We don't know the reason why they may be shopping around. Many of us do it. Here's the thing, the early bird gets the worm. It's an old saying, but it's true. Them choosing you or not choosing you could simply come down to your timeliness. And I know it's hard, but that is why Dubsado not only sets us up with the proposals, but also with the workflows, right? So that way things can run when we're busy, when we're working, when we're with children, we're still beating the competition, even though we're not doing as much as the competition, right? So we want to deliver as soon as possible. Now, how are we going to deliver? Once again, your proposal template. So that form I just showed you, the best case scenario is that that template is a master copy, meaning you use the same template. And yes, you can have different ones for different services or maybe different scenarios, but that template only needs to be modified and personalized on a few pieces, maybe the name or the service, maybe you delete an upsell or include one depending on where they're at, and the video message, of course. But we want it to be very easy. That way you're saving a lot of time on your end from having to edit everything. And remember, we want to save the fluff for the previous portion of the booking process, i.e. website, social media, etc., or for the onboarding. So we want to keep this experience on the proposal very slim and polished. And so that helps us by having a template where we're only making minimal changes. And that you can do that in Dubsado and other CRMs. If you don't have a CRM yet, use the same Canva template or Photoshop template or whatever every time. Save yourself some time, right? But then the email, this part is so important. And this part I see a lot of business owners forget about because we think, oh, the proposal is great. It has all the details. The email can just be an email, right? Yes, we want it to be the selling be in the proposal, but the email is very important. And here's why. The email is what is going to tell the client what they need to do next. Remember when I said we want to treat it like they have never seen a proposal in their life? Here's the honest truth is people get overwhelmed with tech, and some people might see that link and go, I don't know what that is. It's a long page. I don't know what anything is. I'm overwhelmed. I'm going to exit out. So our email copy, when we send that proposal, is our chance to say, hey friend, I'm so excited to work with you. Here's your proposal. From that link, you will find your packages, your contract, your invoice. From there, you can sign, pay, XYZ, whatever your process is. After that, we will XYZ. You see how I kind of broke it up into very digestible chunks? That's what we want to do on your email. We want to keep it clear and precise, but we want to make sure, again, we save all the heart to heart and the beefy sales talk for all of the other assets we're sending, like our video message, sales page, proposal, etc. Let me answer this question. If you are sharing some visual components catered to the client and a sample of your work, would you keep that out of the proposal, or can there be a place in the template? Absolutely. I work with a lot of interior designers, brand designers, even some photographers who want to show work or mood board or maybe even portfolio pieces that are in the direction of what that potential lead is wanting to do as well with their project. And so you could either have, if it's not a super long, again, we don't want this to be something where they're scrolling and now they can't find all the sections. So if it's not super long, I would say, and just include an area there, like a portfolio area or mood board area. If it is really hefty, it's like a Pinterest board or a PDF or something, I would just maybe have a link in the email you send over, and also in the proposal of like, here's a link to your visual component to browse through. That way we're not getting them lost in the scroll, since we don't have a nav function in the Dubsado builder. Let me know if that answered your question, Madeline. Okay, so we talked delivery. We have our template, we have our delivery email. My favorite part of selling is following up. I love it. And, I think when we start as business owners, and even as we're business owners, it's funny, when we start, we're scared to follow up, but then the more advanced we get, the less we follow up because we don't really always need to follow up, right? We have a lot of clients where we're like, oh, they'll come to me if they want to purchase. I want to combat that and kind of be devil's advocate to the, oh, they'll buy if they want to buy. Most buyers purchase, and I'm not just saying your buyers in your industry, but buyers, consumers, even me and you, we purchase the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth time that we're followed up with. Think about all the emails you get. Think about all the times you haven't made a purchase because you're like, I'll put it off, or I forgot. I do that all the time. Like my kids stuff, I feel bad. Like every kid program, I need 18 emails to be like, oh yeah, I got to sign up for that thing, right? The follow up is crucial. And we have to remember it's not about chasing a sale. It's not about being, what's the word, like needy or like, I need your money, I need this client. It's about serving the client. It's everything here is about the client. Do these things benefit us? Absolutely. But it's about the client. Your clients are busy, your customers are busy, your potential customers are busy. They have jobs, they have families, they have businesses. There are so many reasons why the follow-up works. And it's not just to convince them to buy, air quotes. It's also to make sure, hey, do you have everything you need to purchase? Do you have any questions? Did you get my email? Does the button work for you? Are the links making sense? The follow-up is where we can make sure that they have everything they need, but we also can support them. Not to mention, we're relying on the internet to make money for us. So there's inboxes, there's tech issues, things happen. Dubsado is not bulletproof when it comes to tech problems. That's okay. That's why we follow up and say, hey, did you get everything? And they're like, oh yeah, actually it wasn't working. And then I got busy and I had to put my kids to sleep and I forgot to email you about it. Problem solved, right? This could be the game changer. So let's see how we follow up and when we follow up. Kara, I will answer your question in just a minute. Let me share a stat. If you come to my classes, I share stats all day, every day. But according to this stat shared by HubSpot, which HubSpot is a very well-respected marketing company who has a CRM platform, more of like a sales platform for larger companies and corporations. But they had a study that 80% of sales require an average of 5 follow-ups in order to close the deal. Obviously, we're looking at sales as a whole, and you might be thinking that's kind of a lot, but you also aren't considering maybe the follow-ups you did in the DM, or maybe if they, the follow-up to book the call or the follow-up email to get the proposal over to them, then the proposal follow-ups themselves. Those are all us following up with the sale. However, in this study, 44% of those sales reps only followed up once. Sad face, meaning they lost the sale just because of the follow-up. I had a client literally the other day, and she may even be here actually, sweet as pie. She had a lot of questions for me and she was exploring other options and she wanted to know, are you the best option for me? Very valid reason. I'm the same kind of buyer. I want to know, is this the best option? Is this the best investment? Is it everything I want? Are you cool? How do we vibe? We had a lot of follow-ups and she ended up booking with me. And it was like, this is the kind of thing where the follow-up's not about the sale for me. It's about making sure the client has what they need to make the best choice, which ultimately, if it's the best choice for them, then it's my dream client, right? So let's look at the language first. It's all in the words. Just like I said, a lot of people are scared to follow up because they don't want to sound like, are you ready? Are you ready to buy? Here's this. Are you ready? Let's go. Is there anything else? It's all about how we use our email language, right? Because it's only the email that's communicating here. So we can lose the desperation or the annoying language. We really, again, just want to consider opening up dialogue here, using this chance to ask questions, provide additional resources, and make sure they have everything they need. And because I love you guys, here's a script, copy and paste. It's also located, since I know you can't literally copy and paste my screen, it's in the member dashboard for you to actually copy and paste. I will plug in the Dubsado Smart Fields as well after this call because I realized I didn't do that. This is a follow-up script. Obviously take this and zhuzh with your language and your stuff, but very simple. Hey, I noticed you haven't completed your thing yet, your process or proposal. I know it's a big decision. It's a lot of money. What questions can I answer for you? Invite them to ask questions. Would you like to get on a call? Is that going to be better for you to make this decision? Here's the link to do that. Hey, if you're ready or need to review it, again, here's the link. Do you see how much we're providing for them here. Also fun way for a lot of my creatives or maybe my providers here who provide really intensive services. This is a great time to offer resources like, hey, do you want to take a peek at other case studies? Do you want to take a look at a portfolio, a real wedding, a real project, etc.? Here's a link to that. Give more resources and then look forward to hearing from you, right? This is a template, take that and run with it. Now, that is one template, obviously, but how many times do we follow up? My general recommendation is always 1 to 2 times, or excuse me, 2 times. But again, every business is different. Every process and client interaction and industry is different. So this is a kind of one size fits all for you to then take and adjust if needed. But here's my preference for this. And this is what I do in my own business. I do 2. First one, 2 to 3 days later, sometimes maybe a day or 2, depending on how urgent, like if it's the last spot you have, or if you're closing out a program or something like that. This is to make sure, if was the email sent to spam, was it lost, was it the weekend, did they open it and forget about it, were they missing something? Again, tackle any issues now, objections, make sure they have what they need immediately, that there's nothing holding them back. Second follow-up, we can give it more of a 7 to 10 days, or anytime a little closer to when you normally will close out the lead. So if that's, you know, if it's an application period, and or if you are an event-based business where you have a specific project date, like a wedding or an event, you obviously want to make sure that that date opens up. So 7 to 10 days, give or take, but this one being a last call of sorts. Again, providing resources, opening up dialogue, kind of that script you just saw on the previous page, really giving them one last chance before you mention, hey, if it's not a good fit, no worries, just let me know so I can, you know, not contact you or close out the lead or open up your date. Lastly, what happens after that, right? We followed up twice or more or less, maybe depending on what your process is. What happens next? Or maybe they booked a call and you had a discussion with them. 2 scenarios we go. And of course, this class is proposal class, and we're almost going to be wrapping up here soon. But this really leads into what Dubsado would do next for you and how you could make it work for you even further. And here's where it goes conditionally. So first, if a lead books, amazing. We begin our onboarding process with a bang. And that would initiate your next phase, that proposal. Sorry, guys, someone is literally blowing leaves outside my door. Can't make that up. I'll just make sure, if y'all can't hear me, let me know. Onboarding starts with a bang, amazing. With a note on that, guys, we want onboarding something to be sent to them as soon as they pay. As soon as they sign and pay, they need to get an email. It's okay if there's a little delay, 30 minutes, something like that, to get your stuff in a row or for any automations to occur, but we don't want to wait the next day. They've just paid money. We want to keep the anticipation alive. We want to keep the process rolling. So having the automation with the onboarding details next. But if the lead doesn't book and we have those follow-ups, we can archive this lead and either one of 2 things, archive them in Dubsado, and or what a lot of clients I work with will do is then move that client, or excuse me, that lead into, say, a nurture sequence or, you know, general communication in your marketing platform. Now, this screenshot right here, just a little hint, take a screenshot of this as well. This is an exact workflow I would use for a proposal process. Now, you would obviously have to build this or hire me to do it for you, but what's happening here is we're sending a proposal and approving it so we can make any changes if we need to, AKA add in our video, change pricing, what have you, any personalizations. I have 2 follow-ups, sending the form at 2 days if it's not completed, sending it again at 7 days if it's not completed. As soon as my installment is paid, with the payment plan attached to the workflow, onboarding begins, or if they still don't book after 21 days, it archives. So that's where you kind of see the what next. Now, again, that's going into workflows and automation, which is not today's topic, but I want you guys to see how this process then just moves them right into the next phase very beautifully. Let me see these questions. I will save, Kara and Romina, I will save your questions for after I finish this recap here. We're almost done. So as a recap, before we get to Q&A and all of that goodness, 3 things I want you to walk away from today. 1, we want your proposal to be the main character of your booking process. I want it, like your call and your consult and all that, yes, needs to be good, but your proposal, I want them to be like, dang, I want to work with this girl right now. Impress, personalize, function. Function is important here, and the seamless booking experience into onboarding and all of that. We want clear communication. If there's one thing you can focus on, if you can't hire someone to write it or all of that, just be clear. You don't have to sound like an A1 copywriter. Just make sure people understand what they need to look out for, right? What buttons to click, what to do next, etc. And open up dialogue, including the persistent follow-up. Follow up intentionally and give people a way to ask questions. It's so important. I think we underestimate how helpful it can be, whether it's constructive, whether it's troubleshooting, or whether it's helping our clients make decisions. They don't always want to ask if they don't know they can't ask. And so we have to be the ones to open up that dialogue. Okay, before we start Q&A, and I see the questions dropping in, if you guys want to start dropping in questions, you can. If you have to leave, a few things I want to remind you of before you pop off, before we get into questions. 1, the Dubsado Design Experience giveaway winner will be chosen after this call. So if you have not entered or you don't know what that is, let me drop the link in for you literally right now so you can see what the design experience is. But basically, you get custom designed forms. It's a $700 service launching next week for free for you, 1 winner. You also get 30% off Dubsado. Remember, you guys, it's birthday week. They're 7 and they're going big. So they have a sale going on. You get 30% off on top of the sale with my code, and then also my template shop for you guys being here as a thank you, 30% off for the next 48 hours. The template shop has, by the way, guys, before you hop off too, forms. I have a form bundle for photographers. I have a form bundle for service providers. You can buy the proposal solo if you don't want to invest in the full bundle. And I also have canned emails, and there's some free forms too. So make sure you get the free ones. All right, I'm going to open up questions, but I'm going to keep my screen up in case I need to get into Dubsado for any reason. Let me scroll up for a second and take a sip of water. Okay. Starting on love the white labeling and focus on experience. Yes, we always want to make sure our experience is tip-top shape. Okay, I don't know why I was British for a second there. If you are sharing some, oh, I already answered that one. I'm sorry, Madeline. Kara, lately I've had a couple of notifications come in that say so-and-so has completed your proposal. Does that mean they looked at the proposal and did not click through to the contract, which is unsigned? Tips on how to improve this. Fantastic question. Let me open up a proposal here for a second. Actually, this one here, I'll just show you. Now, I'm logged in as the business owner, so we're not going to see the submit button right now since this is my form. But whenever we're sending a proposal with a contract and invoice attached, they are selecting a package, right? Let's say they select this, and they're submitting at the bottom. There's a submit button here. When they submit that, the invoice is created in Dubsado, and you get the notification saying, hey, they've selected, they've submitted. That doesn't mean they've signed or paid. You will get separate notifications for each step. They've selected their proposal and submitted, they've signed their contract, they've paid an invoice. If someone drops off at that stage, then there are ways you could set up either a reminder or a to-do in there, like, if after so many days they haven't completed the contract or such, have a to-do, or set up, communication in there, but you would need to follow up with them or have a reminder on the invoice payment plan. Kara, if you have specific questions about that, email me. She's a past client. Any of you can email me, but if you need more specifics, let me know. Romina said, do you use a similar template wording for both types of follow-ups? So the first email, like I said, I usually keep it short and sweet, something more along the lines of, hey, just dropping in, notice you haven't completed. Do you need anything? Here's the link just in case you missed it. Just more of, again, like popping in a red flag in their inbox of like, hey, I'm here. And then the second follow-up, I would use more of that script. Now, of course, again, if you're a really high ticket service or you have a really intensive process, like I'm thinking interior design projects or like wedding projects or big commercial projects, having resources in both emails could be helpful. Like, hey, 2 days, I noticed you haven't completed anything. you should take a look at this blog. It goes over more detail. It might be helpful in your decision, like that kind of stuff. But that longer script, I would usually keep for the second. Let me know if that answers your question, Ramina. Sydney, can't wait to make my proposal more organized. Yes, I can't wait to see all of y'all's stuff. Everyone send me screenshots. My phone's gonna be blowing up. My boyfriend's gonna be like, why is everyone sending you pictures? What's going on? I'm like, it's proposals. Carissa, this is what I need to work on. Instructional copy in my emails. Yes, those canned email templates are formatted that way, but Carissa, if you download the free onboarding email template I have too, I kind of walk through like my step method there, but that is always super helpful in, moving clients along. Eva asked, in the email sent immediately after booking, we can capitalize on the excitement of the big investment they just made. What should we send? So yes, good question. This is usually what we would consider our onboarding email. Again, I have a template for this, a free template for it. I'll add all the links in the member dashboard after this. But with the onboarding email, I always recommend a few key things. Obviously, yay, you're in, I'm excited, let's start, like all the excitement. But the first few initial actions they need to take. So like usually I would see if there's any kind of portal or Trello board or something like, hey, here's access to this. If there's any kind of intake questionnaire or forms they need to complete, have the instructions there on what to do. And then of course, if there's any kind of welcome guide or service guide you provide at the beginning, that's a great place to include that. We just want to make sure we don't do too much in that email. So Eva, because you're a brand designer, I know a lot of onboarding with design is like very intensive. If there's a lot of stuff that needs to happen manually first, you could always have an email just saying, you're booked, I'm so excited, more details are coming to your inbox tomorrow, everything will be there, like can't wait, just so they know that you're gathering things as well. Kara, thanks so much. Have to duck. Okay. Miracle worker. I'm just so excited you guys are, all this is helpful. Guys, if you have questions, feel free to drop them. As soon as I answer Roxy's as well, if you want to come off mic, if you have a question you want to ask, feel free to do that as well. Roxy, is the signature Dubsado proposal template the one for service providers? It is, but I do want to let you know, you can see the demo there. I think. No, actually that one doesn't have our updated design yet with the demo, but it is not the same as this one. It is a little bit different. You can kind of see what it looks like. And Roxy, if you want to DM me, I can send you the demo link as well, but it is a little bit different. Heads up, this could be used for any business. The service provider one is a little bit slimmer, a little bit less sections. So just keep that in mind. They're the same price though. Okay, questions. Feel free to come off of chat. I have Dubsado open, so any questions related to the dubs, to proposals, I am here for another 10 minutes, so ask away. And thank you guys for being here. Also, if you want to leave, you don't have to leave, you can stay. Taylor asked, what do you recommend for proposals that are completely custom and don't, hi Robert, I see your hand raised, that's actually really cool, that are completely custom and don't have a specific package for the lead to select? That's a great question. With that, I always recommend, again, going back to our master template, I would recommend having, for example, if it's this template here, have it prepped up, the rest of the template, like all of these details, what you would need each time. Then if we don't have collections, you could just delete, essentially you would be deleting all of the collections, right, from this, and just have, oh wait, this is the wrong form, I'm sorry, let's go here. I was editing that one and playing around with design. Okay, so like this, sorry all this scrolling, I hope that's not dizzy for you guys. Having something like this saved here, so deleting any of the a la carte or the collections and having a kind of like a templated package that you just change the price and the details each time. So this can all stay the same, and just having a spot for like, hey, here's your custom quote or collection, and then you just modify this section and the rest of it can stay the same. Let me know if that makes sense, Taylor. Robert, if you want to ask your question, please go ahead.
Hi, Taylor. Hello, everyone.
Hey.
My question is really around the video message aspect of the proposal. So I love the idea of personalized experiences, for your clients, right? But one of the things that, we're talking about in space today, it's about automation and
Hmm.
how to make everything sort of one click and easy and send out. So
Sure.
oftentimes you don't necessarily hear persons talking about customization as a part of the
Hmm.
process, right? So I understand templating, but just for question's sake, do you find that um the time taken, to, for example, make that video, for
Hmm.
example, sometimes, not everybody's as comfortable with, being on
Sure.
camera or like that. So do you find that the time taken, for example, to make that sort of customization in your proposal, does it, add or take away from the process, anyway? Or is it just a straight shot recommendation that you've seen where you're like, what, this really does make the difference, it's a game changer?
Yeah, no, that's a really valid question. And when we are talking about the conversation of automation, I always mention two things is one, not everything is going to be automated. We have to understand that. And I know you get that. And then two, when we have other aspects of the process automated, these small personalizations that I feel can make all the difference, the time difference balances out. When you're saving 45 minutes on the proposal and the sending and the email and all of that, and you're just now spending 2 minutes editing the video and maybe putting in one sentence about them in the email, it's game changing. And my clients will always ask the same thing, like, oh, it's going to take me forever. Or like sometimes I'll stutter and I'll say that, have to record the video a couple of times or whatever. But the impact for the client to me as a business owner and what my clients have experienced is it's worth the time here. And then let's focus on, okay, since we're spending that little time here, where are we saving at the rest of the time, whether it's onboarding, whether it's the beginning of the process, the template itself. And of course, with videos, I understand like it takes time, but the more you do it, the better and faster you get. I kind of have too, if this is helpful, I do this in my head, but you could really kind of do this on a piece of paper, is like have almost like a script, but you switch out like, hey, name, restate their problem, maybe put in something that you discussed on the call. Like I always put in like a personal detail. If we talked about the weather or we talked about their plans, I'm like, oh, have fun in Vegas or whatever, just to personalize that I'm listening. But you could have a script where then you just plug and play the client's details, and that will kind of help you with your confidence on the camera. And the good thing is of course, it's not live, so you can re-record, plug it in. But to answer your question, I think it's worth it. And I think my clients would speak that it's worth it, the ones that have adopted it into their proposal.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Lily asked, I'm going to answer your question, Sydney, but since Lily asked about that as well, are you making the Loom video right after your call with them to add to the proposal, or can you make this before the sales call? I would do it after the sales call. The reason why is because your sales call is kind of more of your intro. I mean, yes, of course, you may have talked to this client via email or social media or know them through your network or such, or there may be a returning client. That could be a different scenario. But with the sales call, that's your chance to ask all the questions, figure out what is the best solution, which service is going to be great. Am I even the best option, right? We don't want to say all of this and then we get on the call and we're like, actually, everything I said in the video, it's different now, right? So doing the video after that sales call gives you that chance to, again, kind of reiterate, because the purpose of this, yes, there's some sales psychology, but the purpose again is just to kind of restate those important details in another way. Again, going back to technology, like some people do great with reading, and that's why those emails are fantastic. And then some people do great with visual or audio. So we can use this to kind of say, hey, here's what you need. Here's what I'm going to offer you. Here's your next steps for the proposal. Let me know if you have any questions. Toodaloos, right? And then also we add the personalization there. Now, of course, doing this right after the call is always helpful because you have all the details fresh. And then if you're doing multiple calls in a day or a week, you're not getting anything confused, but you could always take notes as well after that if you need to record the video, or kind of how Robert was asking, if you need to do it a couple of times, you have like a little note with the details of what you want to say. So hopefully that answered your question, Lily. If anyone else has questions about that, let me know. I'm happy to answer. Sydney, do you have tutorials for making the custom background? Are you saying like this here, this area here? Sydney, let me know. If so, it's very, very simple, and I could literally show you right now. Hold on, if that's what you're asking about. So in that form, with the Dubsado's new form builder, all of these are containers. So with their new form builder, when they updated it from the previous interface, these containers is what really gives us like the website feel. So with these containers, you're able to add columns to add elements next to each other. Now it's not completely free flowing like show it, but more like a Squarespace situation, right? Change background colors, and then you can add imagery to the back. So you can give it kind of like that opacity effect, right? Like if we have an image here, and then we can kind of like, and then you can also add containers within containers if you want to do more of the box elements like we're seeing here. So these are smaller containers within one, and you can just drag and drop. I don't know if she's still here, but let me know if that answers your question or if anyone else has any questions on the form builder. But yeah, this form is insane with just how you can make it look. And also I will say, by the way, guys, there are other ways to build Dubsado forms outside of just this. There are, Dubbins is a third-party platform that almost has like it's called like a genie, but it's essentially like a coded form, but you don't do the code, it just creates it for you, like build it. It is a little more advanced, I will say. There's also third-party businesses and providers who build custom codes, and that's really great. You can usually hire them or purchase templates. I'm very much in the camp that I like to keep things as simple as possible. One, to make it easier. And if things change, for example, when Dubsado updated their form builder, all the old codes and old platforms needed to be updated because Dubsado is updating, right? But I also like to keep things easy to use. And I think Dubsado's is the easiest, and just don't get the headache of all the code and such. But for those maybe who are brand and web designers or know all of that stuff, there are those third parties that can give you more advanced designs and all that good stuff. Yes, Robert, hand raised. I love that.
But my last question here.
Yeah.
So you just mentioned something that I feel like it's key. For me, I believe in creating an exceptional client experience, right?
Mhm.
But after a couple of years of doing it now, I realized that I kind of started out doing a little bit too much, So this is kind of separate and apart from just talking about proposal. I just kind of wanted to kind of segue to talk more about a little client experience here. Can you just provide a couple of tips on how do you create that exceptional client experience? And I know, of course, that whole or the CRM, especially using like
Right.
Dubsado, that's one aspect of it, right? But how do you create that exceptional client experience while at the same time keeping it simple? Because I find that that's key to the process. And a lot of times when we think we need to create that this exceptional experience, we think it has to be a lot. So I found that like my emails, I had to kind of slim them down, hold back certain things or break them up into multiple emails to kind of phase the client into the process. So if you could just give some tips about having a simple client experience while at the same time having a high level client experience.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's such a good thing to bring up, because it is something, if you're newer to automation, or maybe you use CRMs and all of this, but it's not in workflows or automated and that sorts, people think, oh, the more complicated, the better it works, or the more professional it is. And that's not always the case. And obviously the best practice, you can hire someone to help you and like figure out if you want all of the automation. But I'm telling you, automation builds on itself. So if you're starting from scratch and maybe you just got Dubsado, or you're just now dipping your toes into forms and all of this, build on that. Don't go from 0 to 100, because it is overwhelming, especially if you're not a little bit more inclined with tech and systemizing and all of that. It can feel really hard. And so I always say start with the more basics, and I cover some of this like with my workflow class and such that I have on my site, which is also free. But start with mapping your process, and then from there you can expand on, okay, once the process is mapped, then let's build the assets, then we can automate it at the very end. And some people might not even get to that point. They might dump the process on a piece of paper and then be like, okay, let me get used to this, doing it manually, before I invest in automation or before I explore it more. And I do say too, like some of my clients I work with that are higher level, like usually like bigger firms or interior design teams or agency style businesses, they actually oftentimes have even more slim workflows, because their projects are so custom and so different for every client that we're only automating the most, generic pieces of the process, i.e. like the inquiry or the booking. But a lot of businesses will then have a really good mix and balance of automation and manual. And kind of going back to what you said earlier and asked me, is that once you do automate some of those other moving pieces, we can then refocus that energy on where can I put that manual time that's actually going to make a difference, or serve its time well, where I can automate all those other pieces. So that's what I always say, don't get overwhelmed with the automation. And that's why I also mentioned earlier with this conversation as well, that all these tips apply if you have Dubsado, if you don't, if you have an automated proposal system or not. You can grow and continue to scale and add to that as you have the bandwidth and the time, or as your business needs it to, because maybe we don't all need automation right away. You may have the bandwidth to do it, and then when you get to that point that you need it, then you can invest.
Right, right. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, great questions. Roxy, yes. Hi, I haven't talked to you in forever either.
So the question I have is for the packages portion. Can that be built out before? So as you're giving different proposals, you could add or remove different packages that you offer depending on the services that you offer.
Are you saying so you're saying in the proposal, can
So
we
in the
add?
proposal, I see that there's a part that says like display a product or service. Can that be something that's kind of like a template, or those just added boxes? So like, can I have done packages of a product or service or whatever, so that I can just kind of add or remove what?
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely. So that's going to be under your templates, under package templates. This is where you can set up all of those invoices and package items. And you see here, like, this is my little dummy account that I use to play around with, but you can label them, and then you can also add additional. So if there are more line items or descriptions, that all stays in your templates area. So when you are building out forms, or you're invoicing, or you're editing invoices for clients in their project, you can then select from that menu. So if I'm building out an invoice here, I can then see all of those saved packages, and it just inputs all those details. So it just streamlines that.
Okay. Thank you.
Of course. Same with the emails too, like all the canned emails that it saves in the system. When you're emailing in a workflow or in a project area, you can just pull all of those canned emails up easily and just, implement them. I know we're a little bit over time, but any other questions? Oh, yeah, keep going, Roxy.
What's that scheduler?
The scheduler is a appointment scheduling feature, kind of like a Calendly situation. So they can book appointments from a calendar. You set all the availability and the time frames, and you can attach your reminders, your confirmation emails, invoices, and then send them either in the workflow with automation or link them online, however you see fit.
Have you used it, or you still use a separate one?
Oh, I use this thing like, me and the scheduler are like this. So this is my, again, dummy account. My account has like a million of these, but I highly recommend it in Dubsado, because you do get the benefit of automation when you want to start utilizing that, because we can put the schedulers into different workflows. So I can tell the workflow, hey, when the client does this, I want to send them an email to book that appointment. There's the scheduler. So we can tell the system all these different things to do. And we can't do that if we're not using the Dubsado scheduler. It doesn't integrate like that with others like Calendly and such. Good. All right. Any other last questions? Like I said, I know it's past our time. That's everything, but I don't have anything. So if there's anything else, I am here. Utilize me while we're here.
Can I ask one question? Sorry.
Yeah. Hi, Kim.
It was just in the proposal. If you have a conversation beforehand about packages and payment plans, do you have that conversation beforehand and then put the payment plan in the proposal, or do you have the package and the payment plans as options? I didn't know if that was too much in that sense.
So it's a kind of a two-parter. And Kim, I know you get all this because Kim was in my program. So Kim, and let me try to explain this for everyone to understand. You know how we can't do more than one payment plan in the proposal? I wouldn't give them that option to choose unless you're willing to do the advanced stuff to make sure that all computes correctly on the back end. For most of the times, what I would do is if you have multiple payment plans, decide on the call. If you just have one payment plan, you obviously don't need to make any decisions there. But let's say the client does decide, oh yeah, I'm so excited, I want to go with package one, let's go, I'm pumped. The reason, if you do have collections, I still say include 2 to 3 is because they might decide to upgrade when they see it. So why would we limit ourselves on collections if we do have a collection-based offer suite or like a la carte offer suite? if we, if we want them to maybe upgrade it. Now, if your collections have no relevance to what they're doing, let's say you have like a Pinterest audit, a Dubsado setup, and a copywriting, and they need Dubsado. Well, maybe they don't need Pinterest, but they could benefit from the copywriting because that could go with Dubsado, right? So we want to also be considerate of their needs and make sure we're presenting them with things that they actually could use. But I do like to use the proposal as a selling tool. So a lot of my, again, like designers, or even as we talked about with Dubsado VIP Chem, like you could add the add-ons and make upsells from there, even though they said one thing on the phone. Now, of course, you could also have them downgrade, but the chances of that I don't feel like are as common, or if it does, oh well, that's probably a better fit anyways, Let me know if that answers your question though, or if you have any others.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Madeline, for coming. Any other last minute questions? I think we're about to wrap up. I'll stay here for 3 more minutes. Thank you, Lily, for coming. Love all of you guys. So many familiar faces. I love that. I haven't done a masterclass through myself in a long time. It's always with like someone else's stuff. Thank you, Lakeitra. Thanks, Jen. All right, everybody, I will be sending out the replay. If you do have questions and you need anything, please send me a DM, send me an email. You guys know I'm always answering. I'm happy to direct you in the correct place. If you've posted your photo and tagged me, Carissa, you are good. I'm going to put all the names in a hat after this call, and I'll post on Instagram me drawing it. So nothing else you need to do. Thank you guys. I will send out the replay, and I will talk to you all soon. Happy Dubsadoing. Bye, everyone.